Learning is one of the biggest paradoxes in life. The act of learning, the act of changing oneself due to new information, right? Because it changes your perspective in life. All lessons do, as small as they are, right? And for that to happen, you have to allow it to happen. You have to allow it to sink in like that. You know, when you're in school, you're in an environment where you're expected to learn. So you let yourself learn. But sometimes you're not in school and an opportunity to learn comes and you don't know it's an opportunity to learn. So you pass on it, right? Because it's one of them things you don't know. In school, you don't know math, so you learn math. Much in life, you don't know certain things, right? The absence of
Evidence is not the evidence of absence.
What?
Simply because you don't have evidence that something does exist does not mean that you have evidence that something doesn't exist.
yeah. So the paradox would be that thing would be you understanding or you learning that there are things you don't know and actually applying it in your life and being conscious of that. How do you get there? How do you understand there are things you don't know? It's such a big step. For example, an interaction between you and your cousin, right? You just did your bed. You just did your bed. You got off the shower, you did your bed, you tidy up your room, and your cousin walks into your room and says, "Yo, you need to do your bed." You're like, "What do you mean? I've done my bed. Like, what's this nigga talking about? Fuck off." And that's the end of the interaction because you do your bed. You know you did your bed, you know? But your cousin sees something you don't know. So you need to take that opportunity in and ask him, "What do you mean? How do I do my bed?" And he shows you a new form of tucking your pillow, maybe, or the way you miss this spot, and you're like, "Oh, okay," you know? See the difference between those two interactions? It's literally you understanding there might be something you don't know. You don't know. Which is weird. It's a such a big paradox, you know? And again, it's such a big step to learning and to changing perspective, right? And it really most of the times it has to come from somebody outside. You won't know you don't know something unless somebody points it out, right? Especially in practical things. Of course you can know you don't know things. But there are some things you don't know that somebody really like doing your bed. You think you know how to do your bed. You think you know how to brush your hair. You think you know all of that. But somebody comes to you and says, "Yo, you need to brush your hair." Like, what? I did that already, right? No, that's not the attitude to have. You have to be able to let yourself go every time somebody points something out. Because what's the trade off? Maybe they tell you something you already know for real and you do it for real. Okay, you lost like what, 5 minutes? But maybe you don't know and you gain a new perspective on how to do those things. And also, you practice the act of letting yourself go and building on it, on yourself, which is there's no losses there. So hear everybody that talks to you, like regardless of age, of you know, even if they teach you something you know already, just hear it out, and actually be open to learn because you may not know something you don't know. I think I said that wrong, but that's okay. That's okay, because I'll take the chance to grow and to know how to say it for.